Hi everyone, this is Kim. You are listening to Unfiltered Wednesdays, the show where we have real, unfiltered conversations about navigating big life transitions as a student, a professional, and a human being. Today's episode is about what actually looks like to arrive somewhere new, a country, a culture, and a career, and not wait to be handed a seat at the table. It's about using every resource available to you, asking the right questions at the right moment, and having the courage to share your voice even before anyone asks for it. My guest today is someone whose journey brings that to life. Let's get into it. Today we have Tanvi Kanade, a marketing professional with a Master of Science in Marketing from Suffolk University Sawyer Business School in a STEM designated program. She currently works as Business Development Manager at CPS in Newton, Massachusetts. But here's what made Tanvi's story worth paying close attention to is she didn't just survive the international student experience, she walked it. She used the ISSO office, school resources, and an opportunity that she turned into a full-time role. And before all of that, she was winning international gold medals in Taekwondo. So yes, she knows how to show up when the pressure is on. Hi, Tanvi, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. And it's really nice to be here. And thank you so much for having me.
I'm really glad to have you and really excited to learn about your journey and your experience as well. Let's start at the beginning. What was it like to arrive in the US as an international student?
Well, to arrive as an international student, it is a cocktail of feelings, to be very honest. So you're super excited because you're going to a new country, you're starting a new journey, you're starting with education, it's going to be new people, everything's going to be new. So it's really exciting, but at the same time, it can be a little uncertain and overwhelming as well. Like, especially if you're alone in a new city altogether where you don't know anybody and you're just trying to navigate, it can be a little challenging, but trust me, it's very exciting too, as long as you know what you're supposed to do or just rely on the right resources. I think it's pretty fun to navigate everything.
Yeah, I second that. There's a lot of excitement coming to the big city, one of the best country in the world, and you are here alone. You don't have any family members and you don't have friends yet. What were the hardest part of the adjustment that nobody warned you about?
Um, well, there are different things, and I'm sure my experience is very personal, which a lot of the students could relate. Some of them can, some of them won't. But in terms of basic things, you come from a different country, so you have a different culture that you're adapted to. Very basic things like searching for a house, or okay, this is how things work. It could literally be like navigating your way around day to day things, which are just so different than what you're used to doing, is a little challenging. But I think if you keep an open mind, if you just actually look around you, you realize that it's very easy to adapt to things. And having an open mind is extremely important because you cannot have a cooped up mentality and be out there in the world. When you keep an open mind, you just grasp and adapt to things better, which just help you to blend in and get adjusted. And just going out there, trying to talk to people, getting to know things, just going out there is probably the best way to start navigating things.
So there's a lot of things that you have to figure out when you come here. The culture is different and you have to look for your own house, and even day to day to navigate things are also very different. So what about if you take me back to a moment in your first semester when you arrived here where you felt completely out of your depth, not academically, but just as a person trying to figure out how to exit here and what was happening and what did you do with that feeling?
You know, I was really lucky to be a part of Suffolk University. I think it's one of the best universities that I could ever be a part of in terms of the professors that I got, the resources that I had, or in general what the university did. Even with the classmates that I had. So when in my, in one of my classes, I'm sitting with all these students. I didn't know anybody that well. I mean, we did meet for the orientation and stuff, but then nobody really knew each other so well. And hearing about everybody's experiences in the introduction, where they came from, what they've been doing, was like super impressive. But at the same time, I was like, okay, am I falling behind in all of this? But you just kind of go into that self doubt for a moment, but only to realize that, okay, hey, everybody is here and everybody has their different journey. It's all about, looking at what the big picture is, where you are right now. Everybody is here. It's about getting to know each other, help each other professionally, academically, and actually grow better. So it can feel very overwhelming. It can feel that, okay, am I not good enough? There's a lot of self doubt, but trust me, it's just all in your head. And the fact that you're already there means that you're there to learn, you're there to grow and just make the most of everything, is what I would say.
Wow, that's very nice. And you also mentioned that you felt like you're falling behind. How do you, come back?
Like I said, that I was really grateful to have
Yeah.
one of the most amazing professors who were genuinely there for us. As I started going in, I started to understand, okay, this is a subject that I really enjoy. This is something that I don't enjoy or I don't understand. I think one most important thing I would want to stress on is that when we're in a new place, we're in a new classroom, or we're like amongst a lot of people, we're so conscious about asking questions. So if a professor is teaching, you don't understand. Sometimes, just like, how do I ask this? What will others feel? It's okay. You're not meant to know everything under the sky, and that's the only reason why you're there to learn. Just ask questions. As stupid as they might sound, it's okay. It's just a question. It's valid. You had a question, you'll get the answer to it. And if you keep worrying about what others are going to think, that is just going to pull you down. So I would say just don't think about what others would think, as long as you're not doing something unethical. If it's just about asking something, it's just about not being sure and just inquisitive and just, wanting to know more, it's okay to just do that. And that's what I did. That's the whole reason why I'm here, to learn, to grow, to make a difference for myself and for others around me too. So that's how it began. I started asking questions, I started showing up, and that's when I realized that because I'm asking questions, I'm discovering so many things that I didn't know about, which gave me a much better clarity to design my path and to figure out that it just needs to be worth your time and worth your goal. It needs to
Mhm.
align well with it. And it's okay if it changes, as
Mhm.
long as it's not just something, haphazard. It's okay to try and explore, and that's how you learn and that's how you'll grow. So that was how I started navigating my path.
So that really knowing why you are there and you have to you are there, you have to learn. That's why you
Yeah.
started asking a lot of questions. I'm very curious about that because coming from Asian country like you and me, then we have a very different background. We are not supposed to ask a lot of questions. A lot of international students also have that experience as well. I'm just very curious, how did you gain all of those courage?
Okay, I'll be very honest with you. So in school and back in my country, I haven't been like an A grader. I've always been into sports. So I was more of a sporty person. I decided to pursue science. I did my undergrad in science. So, I wanted to learn, but I think yes, the cultural difference is a big thing. In India, I think we're too worried about, maybe not just India, I think everywhere, people are worried about what people will think, and that's how you hold yourself back. And I think that's something that is in your own head. It's nobody else who's doing that to you. And I think it's just a battle between yourself, that it's not about you being confident or bringing that up there. It's just more about, it's okay, what's the big deal? I'm here, I'm going to ask, what's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, somebody will judge, so what? It's not like you're asking somebody a personal question or something that's not right. This is something that is very basic. I think more than anything, it's just about understanding, and that battle that goes in your own head, or those rules that you've made for yourself because of the society that you probably lived in or the people around you. But you have to understand that, hey, it's okay. It's not something that you're doing wrong. You just want to know something better. And that's really okay. It's just about doing it. And you do it once, it might feel a little okay, whatever. But once you actually start showing up and start asking questions, and when there would be people who would say, why do you have to ask so many questions? Just that, okay, I just don't want to. And when you don't get affected and still keep doing what you want to do, you realize that that's just helping you grow. If you listen to somebody else and not do it, you're at a loss. The person is not losing anything. So it's a choice that you have to make that, okay, I'm going to sit quietly. Okay. And I understand. See, not everybody has um, you know, has that confidence or is not comfortable to say things out loud. In that case, if it's your professors or if it's some other person, like it's a guest speaker or whatever, you can always send them an email. One, reach out to them saying that, hey, could I get a little of your time where I have some questions? Can I ask you? And you can still do that if you don't want it to be out there in the open. It's always nice to do that because, it gets cleared and then you have a clearer mind to go ahead. But if not, there are other ways to do that too. But I would just say that just you need to go and speak up, and trust me, it'll make a lot of difference in your life.
That's really beautiful. Thank you so much
Hmm.
for that. So you have talked about how much the Career Center and ISSO office meant to you.
Yeah.
What did you actually using those resources look like for your day to day?
Okay, I'm just gonna be a little honest here. So, how we all as students or whatever, we get instructions from so many people. Everybody tells us a lot of things. We have motivational speakers that we listen to and we're like super motivated and pumped at that point in time. And then you're just like, when you're actually doing that or when you're getting there, you just don't end up doing things. Similarly, I would say that I was being told since the beginning that when I started my school during our orientation, that we have the career center, we have ISSO, we have this, we have that, we have events. And I was like, oh my God, that's great. I'm going to make the use of all of this and whatever. And I didn't eventually, okay? Because I got caught up with, it was the first semester with studies, with things like exploring things, just probably settling into a new city and everything. But I would say that we literally have those things. And when I actually, a little later, when, again, I did make use of it, it was just a little later. But I would say that they literally are trying to help you in the best way possible. For me, as a personal experience, Suffolk had a lot of events, networking events, marketing events. They had a lot of guest speakers come in. Then they have external resources. They help you with your resumes. They help you with different programs where you can go shadow people. They have tie-ups with companies, universities, student alumni. There's like a lot that they have. And then we're just sitting over there, 300, 400 jobs blindly without realizing that, okay, we have opportunities and we're putting efforts over there. We might as well put efforts over here, which could actually lead into something fruitful. It's efforts taken in both the places, but over here it's just, more manual and more you have to think more in depth and just be more creative. I cannot stress this enough. There are a lot of resources available. There are a lot of emails that come in from these guys which are just ignored. I have done that too in my first semester, only to realize that I shouldn't, because that's how I actually landed up with the current job that I have, because of the resources that I actually always had, but just chose to use.
Yeah, that's really nice. I actually wanted to ask you about that, using the resources and particularly in job shadowing,
Yeah.
because we talk about that and that how did you really use the resources, and when the opportunity come, how did you really navigate there? So take us back to how the job shadowing opportunity came about. How did you identify it and what did you do to prepare before you even walk in? What do you think make you stand out in that job shadow?
So Suffolk has this program called the job shadowing, where they have tie-ups with a few companies, student alumni, and just different people in the industry, where you get a day to actually go and shadow them at their workplace.
Mm.
Suffolk sent an email with the job shadowing, and I'm sure that a lot of the students did not see that. And now that I had decided that I will go and look at every email, I saw that and I actually ended up signing up for it. And I was really excited to go out there and see what it's like to be working in a company and just to get all the experience that I could, which I was going to graduate soon. I had about 5 years of work experience when I came to the US, but again, working in a different country and then working in the United States was going to be a little different. And I was really excited to learn more and see things so that I could, you know, understand what I wanted to expect when I start working in any industry and so on. Um, so when I person who I was supposed to do the job shadowing with was the CEO of the company that I currently work for. So to be very honest, uh, the school had told us not to go and ask for a job because that's not what we're going for. We're going over there to learn and to actually value their time by actually learning what they're teaching you or just by their experience. The whole point was, and that's the whole mindset that I went with that, okay, I'm not going to ask for a job, nothing, because I just want to learn. I'm just curious to know how things work. And before going, I had a conversation with her, and I just wanted to understand what their company does better. So I asked her if there was anything specific that they were working on that particular day, and if there was anything that I could be prepared for, or if I could contribute for the day. And she was actually kind enough to send me an email with the things that they were actually working on, a little campaign. And she said that they would really like any thoughts if I had. Like, so I said, okay, cool. And then I worked on it. I went through the file that she'd shared. I put together some things, and I was kind of prepared and excited to be there. And the day that I went to the company for job shadowing, I was prepared with everything that, they had asked me for. And it was actually a very beautiful day. They actually were very nice. They included me in all their meetings and they showed me around. They explained how their business works and everything was amazing. So, but there came a point where I had to actually share my ideas and I did that and they surprisingly loved it, which made me feel so overwhelmingly grateful, I think. But it went well. And then by the end of it, when I was talking to the CEO, we were wrapping things up. She asked me what my plans were. I was telling her I was about to graduate. I was working on my portfolio and some certifications and everything, and looking for a job and applying. Just basically telling her what I was about to do. And I definitely did not ask for a job. And then she said, okay, maybe in January, would you just want to reconnect and I would love to know more about you and how you work. So I was like, okay, perfect. And so the day after the job shadowing, I went home. I put everything in a proper PDF, the things that I'd worked on for their campaign with a thank you email, and I sent it all ahead. So in January, when I got in touch with her, we had a little interview and I got my job. I started part time and got converted to a full time within a month. So the whole point of me telling this was that, okay, one, I got the resource. I was there just for the experience, but it was about what you do, like, showing up and showing your best self to somebody is what is important, is what I would say. Because if I would have chosen not to prepare anything, just go see, observe, and come back, I might not have gotten the opportunity. Again, though my intention was not to do that, but because I was keen on learning more and just putting my best self out there, it actually turned out to be a very positive outcome. Like had a very positive outcome, and I landed the job that I have.
That's really beautiful and very powerful. And there's a lot of valuable things that you share. And you describe your approach. You also talk about the networking, using the resources, and sharing your voice. And that's very powerful. For the student who are still in school and figuring things out, what does showing up really mean to you beyond just being physically present?
Uh, Honestly, I will tell you that the key thing is to focus on contribution and not like impressing somebody. Yes, technically you're competing against a lot of people. Well, and here in Boston, we have Harvard, we have MIT, we have so many universities. We have a lot of people, and yes, you technically are competing with them, but the whole point is that you are your own self, and the way you showcase yourself and put your best self out there is what matters the most. And that literally comes with a lot of mental fatigue as well. Times when you want to give up at least 200 times, and that's when you don't, because you give up and there are like 200 other people who are not. So, they're going ahead and you're not in comparison with them, but for your own self. So, as boring as it might sound, as lazy as you feel to actually get up and do things, trust me, that is how it is going to help you. Blindly sending in, why I would stress on networking is because there's just, very realistically, there's a lot of competition. There are a lot of people out there. So, how do you stand out? How do you get noticed for something that you're doing? And that is making use of your resources, which is networking. When I said networking, it's not just about the networking events. Yes, they're there, but literally go for a workshop. You might meet some people. Go attend some classes, go attend some sporting event. Just meet new people and build connections. You never know what will turn into what. You might collaborate on a project. You might just find something that you love, or you might just find something that you were not aware of but might love. So the whole point is about actually going out there and talking to people and showing your true self. The more people actually meet you, they get to know you, and they're just going to know what you are, instead of just blindly sending in a lot of applications. Yes, it's good to apply, but when you apply, try to reach out to your HR managers, the HR managers. Try to reach out to people. It's about, I know it just feels very monotonous and annoying and a lot, but trust me, after you do that, and what you land up with will be something really amazing.
Wow, that's really great. So showing up doesn't mean that you are not just there physically present, that you are always thinking about how can I contribute to this person or this organization rather than focusing on who am I, right?
I'll be very honest with you. Yes, being physically there, because you physically are doing things, is one thing, but if you're not mentally prepared, I think it's the whole thing is a mental game, is what I would say. The more determined you are, the stronger you are mentally, is when you'll actually physically start showing and doing things. Being mentally healthy is extremely important. And it's not easy to be that given the circumstances, but it's very important to understand that there are only a few things that are actually in your control. And there are some things that are just not in your control. So there's no point in stressing about those external factors that are not in your control, but trying to see how you can find solutions around it so that you're not stuck in the same place. And that is what you have to keep. It's not easy. And I think, having the right people around you is very important, who will keep encouraging you and for to have the right mindset even when you feel like giving up 10 times. And that's really okay to feel that way. But you feel it, you address it, and you actually grow out of it. That is what is very important.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tanvi. So to conclude that conversation, what's one thing you hope students will take action on after hearing your story today?
Okay, so with students, what I would want to say is that, okay, I am not somebody who's achieved everything in life yet. I am still growing, I'm still learning, and I'm just probably just a few more months ahead of where they are right now, who are still in their university trying to navigate things and process things. But um, I would say that actually showing up and doing things when you don't want to do them is very important, because once you break that barrier and being consistent, like, try not to focus your energy on things that are not really important. Like, try to address what is actually important and what is not. We try to give importance to the things because somebody else is, or because the circumstances ask you to do so. But I think having clarity for yourself and making the most of the resources that we have. It's literally like, your parents are telling you to do 10 things and you're just like, yeah, I'll do it. And then later you realize, oh shit, if I would have just done that back then, things would have been easier. So I think it's just about actually using the resources. We have those with us and just make the most of them. Just show up and try to show your best. Put your best self out there because nobody really knows who you are unless you actually go ahead and do that. And it's okay if you fail. It's okay if somebody thinks you're stupid. It doesn't matter because it just doesn't matter. You just don't give up easily. That's all I would say. It's very easy to give up. Just don't do that too.
Tanvi, thank you so much for being so open and so honest today. What you have shared isn't just a success story, it's a blueprint for how to arrive somewhere new, feel the disorientation, and still decide to show up fully anyway. This episode is a reminder that the resources were always there, and the question is whether you were willing to walk through the door or not. So if today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, not just because it's motivating, but because it's also for you. I am Kim. This is Unfiltered Wednesday. We'll see you in next 2 weeks.